All right, so the Donald Trump trial is back on. I've heard that yesterday they took the day off for Passover. Now, whether that's correct or not, that's what I heard. So, I assume then that this will just be a 3-day week as opposed to them using Wednesday to catch up, is my assumption. But anyway, let's get right to the article. Judge raises threat of jail as he holds Trump in contempt, fines him $9,000 at hush money trial. And I've already seen that he's using this as a fundraiser. You know, boo-hoo, poor, woe is me. The judge held me in contempt, he fined me, he's threatening me with jail, give me money. And there are people who actually are giving him money. All right. Donald Trump was held in contempt of court Tuesday and fined $9,000 for repeatedly violating a gag order that barred him from making public statements about witnesses, jurors, and some others connected to his New York hush money case. If he does it again, the judge warned he could be jailed. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please do it again. I want Trump to go to jail. I'm afraid of what his supporters will do if he goes to jail, but still, I want him to go to jail. What else was I going to say about that? There was something else. Oh, yes, and apparently the offending posts were taken down. That Trump did remove them. Prosecutors had alleged 10 violations, but New York Judge Juan Merchan found there were 9. Trump stared down at the table in front of him as the judge read the ruling. Frowning slightly, he didn't speak to reporters as he entered and exited the court during trial breaks. Now that is unusual for him. Maybe he's actually taking this seriously. And maybe he's going to keep his mouth shut from now on. I'm sure that'll last at most a few minutes. All right, stupid phone. It was a stinging rebuke of the Republican former president's insistence that he was exercising his free speech rights and a reminder that he's a criminal defendant subject to the harsh realities of trial procedure. And the judge's remarkable threat to jail a former president signaled that Trump's already precarious legal standing could further spiral depending on his behavior during the remainder of the trial. As I said, God knows how long this is going to last. All right. Merchan wrote that he is keenly aware of and protective of Trump's First Amendment rights, particularly given his candidacy for the office of President of the United States. It is critically important that defendants' legitimate free speech rights not be curtailed, that he be able to fully campaign for the office which he seeks, and that he be able to respond and defend himself against political attacks, Merchan wrote. So I guess that's why he only found 9 instead of 10 violations. Still, he warned that the court would not tolerate willful violations of its lawful orders, and that if necessary and appropriate under the circumstances, it will impose an incarceratory punishment. With that statement, the judge drew near the specter of Trump becoming the first former president of the United States behind bars. I just need to picture that for a moment. Okay. Trump is used to having constant access to his social media bullhorn to slam opponents and speak his mind. After he was banned from Twitter following the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol by his supporters, Trump launched his own platform, where his posts wouldn't be blocked or restricted. He had long tried to distance himself from controversial messages he's amplified to his millions of followers by insisting they're only retweets. Yes, because as we all know, people who retweet without comment or with some sort of variation of positivity don't actually believe what they're retweeting. What? That's not how retweets work. Unless you're actually saying, can you believe this? Or something. Make some comment to imply that you are not agreeing with whatever you're retweeting. The assumption is you agree with it. I'm not sure what this only retweets thing is. There was something else I wanted to mention about that. Oh, yes, about his posts not being blocked or restricted. Apparently, his bastion of free speech paradise, you have to agree not to criticize Trump. So, there's that. But he does have experience with gag orders, which were also imposed in his civil fraud trial. After he was found to have violated those orders, he paid more than $15,000 in fines. And apparently this is a violation of his pretrial release. So even though Judge Merchan isn't going to jail him for violating the gag order, he might be in trouble with the other cases and might end up going to jail anyway. Which again, not upset about. Tuesday's ruling came at the start of the second week of testimony in the historic case, in which Manhattan prosecutors argue Trump and his associates took part in a legal scheme to influence the 2016 presidential campaign by purchasing and then burying seamy stories. The payouts went to a doorman with a torrid yarn, ex-Playboy model Karen McDougal, who had accusations of an affair, and to porn performer Stormy Daniels, who alleged a sexual encounter with Trump. He has pleaded not guilty and says the stories are all fake. And actually, one of the stories is fake. And that's the story that the doorman claimed that Trump fathered a child out of wedlock. That one turned out to be fake, which is very weird that they would, pay it off even though they knew it was fake. I mean, yes, it's a negative story, but if it's not true, what's the problem? Trump was ordered to obey the gag order fined by the close of business Friday, and he deleted, as ordered, the offending posts from his Truth Social account and campaign website Tuesday. The judge was also weighing other alleged gag order violations by Trump and will hear arguments Thursday. This is going to be a regular Thursday thing, isn't it? He also announced that he will halt the trial on May 17th to allow Trump to attend his son Barron's high school graduation. I am so curious. I'm pleased that Merchan is calling his bluff, because I do not believe for 1 minute that he ever intended to actually go to his son's graduation. He was just using it as an excuse to show victimhood. So the fact that Merchan is allowing it is going to, A, give Trump one less thing he can whine about. I mean, he is going to whine about the being held in contempt, but he can't whine about not being able to go to his son's graduation. And I'm really curious to see if he actually goes. Because I do not believe for 1 minute he ever intended to go. And so I don't think he will. I'm sure he'll just play golf. So yes, Mershon, I think, just outplayed him, which is beautiful. Of the 10 posts, the one Mershon ruled was not a violation came on April 10th, a post referring to witness Michael Cohen and Daniels as sleazebags. Wait, that wasn't a violation? Okay. Mershon said to Trump's contention that he was responding to previous posts by Cohen is sufficient to give him pause on whether the post was a violation. Well, that's true. I guess if he's responding to what other people are saying, you can't say he was actively trying to intimidate, but I'm pretty sure that the post wasn't in a vacuum by Michael Cohen either. Mershon cautioned that the gag order not be used as a sword instead of a shield by potential witnesses, and that if people who are protected by the order, like Cohen, continue to attack Trump, it becomes apparent they don't need the gag order's protection. Well, that's fair. That's a nice way of the judge telling people like Cohen to knock it off. So, I mean, granted, it's fun to bait him into saying something stupid, but at the same time, really? What do you think you're accomplishing by doing it? Cohen, Trump's former attorney, has said he will refrain from commenting about Trump until after he testifies at the trial. Oh, good. On Tuesday, he said in a text message to the Associated Press, the imposed fine is irrelevant. Judge Mershon's decision elucidates that this behavior will not be tolerated and that no one is above the law. In other developments, testimony resumed Tuesday with a banker who helped Cohen open accounts, including one used to buy Daniels' silence. Trump's attorney have suggested that they were engaged in an effort to protect his name and his family, not to influence the outcome of the presidential election, except for the fact that we have him on tape telling Michael Cohen that it was all about the election. I can't wait for him to testify so they can stop using that as an excuse. Jurors also began hearing from Keith Davidson, a lawyer who represented McDougal and Daniels in their negotiations with the National Enquirer and Cohen. He testified that he arranged a meeting at his Los Angeles office during the summer of 2016 to see whether the tabloid's parent company was interested in McDougal's story. At first they demurred, saying she lacked documentary what is wrong with me today? Documentary evidence of the interaction, Davidson testified. But the tabloid eventually bought the rights, and Davidson testified that he understood it would never be published. Asked why the tabloid's parent company, American Media Incorporated, would buy a story it didn't intend to run, Davidson said he was aware of two reasons. One explanation I was given is that they were trying to build Karen into a brand and didn't want to diminish her brand, he said. And the second was an unspoken understanding that there was an affiliation between David Pecker and Donald Trump, and that AIM wouldn't run this story, any story related to Karen, because it would hurt Donald Trump. Bingo! It was never about the first thing. Now let me see. He represented McDougal, and I'm sorry, is that how this lawsuit all began? Because I'm sorry if he didn't say anything, because yeah, okay. As for Daniels, the October 2016 leak of Trump's 2005 Access Hollywood tape, in which Trump bragged about grabbing women sexually without asking permission, had tremendous influence on the marketability of her story. Before the video was made public, there was very little, if any, interest in her claims, Davidson told jurors. Well, that makes sense. I mean, outside of New York, people actually outside, and by outside I mean not just outside of New York in the U.S., outside of the country. There were plenty of people. I mean, I have a cousin who was and his girlfriend at the time were totally enamored with Trump. They wanted, when they came to visit, they wanted to go to New York and visit Trump Tower and do this, that, and the other thing. They were totally enamored. So, yeah, that makes sense. That there were probably so many people who looked up to Trump that of course they wouldn't trust the word of some porn star, because slut shaming is a thing. And obviously if you're in porn, you must be a terrible person or something. Asked to describe the tape, which can't be shown in court, Davidson testified that it involved Trump and the show's then host Billy Bush being recorded on a hot mic, and some statements by both men that were troublesome. And again, Trump was never faced consequences for that tape. Billy Bush got canned. Now, it could be said that he didn't stand up for women against Trump and the disgusting things he said. But at the same time, it wasn't so much that he didn't say anything, it's the fact he laughed along. Now, it could be, again, that he was just proving Trump's point that this man is rich, he's got influence, so he was afraid to, not laugh while Trump was laughing. But, yeah, not a good look for Billy, but he's the one who got canned. He's the one who got in trouble for it, and Trump didn't. A deal was reached with the tabloid for Daniel's story, but the Inquirer backed out. Though Pecker testified that he had agreed to serve as the Trump's campaign's eyes and ears by helping to squelch unflattering rumors and claims about Trump and women, he drew the line with Daniels after paying out $180,000 to scoop up and sit on stories. Davidson began negotiating with Cohen directly, hiked up the price from $125,000 to $130,000, and reached a deal. Okay, that explains why she got more than Karen McDougal. Okay, that I still don't know why. Because Stormy, to my knowledge, was a one-time thing. Karen McDougal was a 10-month thing. So that just doesn't add up for her. Let's see. And the reason that, like I said, is because he never got reimbursed. So that's why he didn't squelch Stormy. And I also heard that someone pointed out after Karen McDougal that what he did was illegal. And so he probably was like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. In essence, Michael Cohen stepped into AMI's shoes, Davidson said. Trump's son, Eric, joined him Tuesday, the first time a family member has attended the criminal trial. Interesting. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton walked into the courtroom with Trump and his entourage for the afternoon session. I don't even want to know why. The GOP presidential hopeful is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in connection with the hush money payments. The detailed evidence on business transactions and bank accounts is setting the stage for testimony from Cohen, who went to federal prison after pleading guilty in 2018 to campaign finance violations and other crimes. The trial, the first of Trump's 4 criminal cases to come before a jury, is expected to last for another month or more. Oh boy. And with every moment Trump is in court, he's growing increasingly frustrated while the November election moves ever closer. This is a case that should never have been brought, he said. Actually, considering that the polls are looking good for him, he probably would be better off just staying where he is. Of course, personally, I wish he could do more rallies and appear in front of more people so they can hear what a colossal piece of crap he is. But for Trump's sake, this is working. Now, granted, probably still it's early on, and most of the people that are polled are very, very passionate about who they're going to vote for, whereas most people probably are still just waking up from a coma and just starting to think about who they want to vote for. And some people probably still haven't even thought about it. Because yes, primaries are still going on, but a lot of people don't vote in primaries. Let's see is there anything else I want to mention. Nope, there's nothing else I have on this article. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how long before Trump opens his mouth again and gets pinged with more gag order violations. Because this man is nothing if not lacking in self-control. So, with that, that's all I have for this one, and I will see you in the next video.